Okay. Bole Baba Ki Jai. Welcome to today's Satsang at the Haidakhandi Universal Ashram. And this is Jonathan, and I'm Ramloti, and here we are with all of you. And on the screen right now is Ramlota from Italy, Ujai from Russia, and David and Lorraine from Denver, Colorado. And so we wanted to begin today with stories of your heart connection, I guess we could say. And unless somebody else has a burning desire to begin, I'm going to ask David to begin.
Bole Baba Ki Jai.
Jai.
I'm going to respond first to your question, Ramloti, which is when did we know Babaji was our teacher, our guru? And we in 1978 we knew that he was embodied and that he was in the world. A man named Pana Singh, Chuck Harris, had gone to India with Leonard Orr, brought us some pictures and one thing and another. And we lived in Golden, Colorado at that time. And so we were meditating one day on Babaji. And then all of a sudden, and this is old technology, but all of a sudden there was a burst of light in our foreheads, in our third eyes. And it was like a slide projector had burned through the image, and then all of a sudden it was light. And so it was this huge light, and then it was like a telescope, and at the other end of the telescopic view was Babaji, and he was standing by the Ganges, and he opened his arms. He said, "Time to come home, time to come to India." We both had the same experience, so we felt like that was pretty profound. And then at the time we had 4 kids, and it was very difficult to feature the possibility of going to see Baba. And we actually asked for financial aid, and he wound up seeing to it that we got enough money to be able to go to India, and the house that we were renting sold out from under us, and we had to farm out kids, and that was the doorway we walked through.
Thank you. Do you want to go ahead and say what one of your experiences while you're
okay. I have to give I think a little bit of context first, which is that when we got to Haidakhandi, which was in April of 79, everyone was saying that Babaji was Lord Shiva incarnate. So he's the destroyer and the creator of the universe. And that was a lot to take in. Right. And here's what appears to be this guy. And he's not the same as anybody else. And so we arrived, and the first night, actually he gave me a name, Chaku Singh, great-hearted lion whose love cuts through like a knife. And right after Arti, a man named Janaki came over, and he goes, "Did he talk to you?" And it was like, well, yeah. And he says, "He doesn't talk to people. Was it in English?" I go, "Well, sort of, yeah, because sometimes he just makes sounds." And then or Devi or Sheila would translate. And so he said, "He's very happy to see you again. He's very happy to see you again." It's like, okay, how do you know? There's no answer to that one. So anyway, we were there for a week, which is more like 7 light years than 7 days on Earth time. And he did a huge puja on Lorraine on day number 3. He cleared her out really profoundly. And so he had me go across the river, and we were just building the first of the mother temples over there. So I got to water the concrete and one thing another, and it was a beautiful job. And on about day number 5, I was sitting down at the tea house in the river bottom, and I was just having a cup of tea before I went back across the river, and I could see Babaji coming down the steps, and I thought, wow, there's nobody with him. That's really interesting. And so I sat there and I had my tea and was having the tea. And before I knew it, he was standing beside me, and his feet, his beautiful feet, were right there. And I was like, I missed him walking up, and so I pranamed and I put my hands on his feet, and they smelled so beautiful. They'd been oiled and one thing and another. So so he goes, you come with me. So I started following him, and we walked over around behind the Shiv cave, and we started walking up a trail on the mountain. And he said, clear path. And so I was picking up branches and cactus and all kinds of things and clearing them off the path. And I was kind of throwing it down the hill. And suddenly 2 guys manifested out of nowhere, and they were picking that up, and there was a whole lot of other stuff that they were bringing over, and all wood and the like. And so as we moved up the hill, which wasn't much higher than the temple, maybe not even higher than the temple. Anyway, there's a small cave there. So he says, good meditation place, you meditate. And he'd been telling people not to meditate. So, okay, I meditate. So, and as I'm sitting down, 2 things, he said, oh, there's a large cobra around, be careful. Like, okay. And then the 2 guys down below suddenly lit this huge pyre of wood, and there was a huge plume of smoke that came up, and fire. So the meditation lesson took about 2.5 hours, judging from how the sun moved. And so I sat there, and before long, there were lizards about, well, that's hard to tell. There were lizards about 8 to maybe 16 inches long that came out of that cave, and they would scurry across parts of my body, and I would, and I felt like after a while I was like, okay, Baba just wants me to settle down. Just settle. Nothing's going to happen. No cobras are going to come out of there or anything. So I sat, and I got to where I could allow them to run over me. And then I started to see Babaji's eyes inside my head. And then there were these colorful circles that would like bound out. And then there was a golden Om in the middle of all of that. And so I continued to absorb that, and it felt like Babaji was inside of me. And after a long period of time, one of those men came over, and he goes, Baba, see you now. So I said, oh, Baba, see me now. So I got up and I went over to the mother temple where he was sitting, and I bent down and I pranamed. And right next to him was one of his beautiful watercolors, and it was a golden Om with circles of colors moving around them. And, he had painted exactly what I had been seeing for that period of time. So one of those typical Baba Leelas where plunge you into something that was beyond time and space. Wow. And in that sense, beyond form. Wow. It's a beautiful thing. And then later on, 4 days later, we were in Nainital, he sent our daughter to Nainital first, and then we had to go find her. And so we were in a youth hostel, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I'd been doing japa continuously from the time we first got to Haidakhandi. And I woke up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and I realized that japa was doing me and I wasn't doing the japa anymore. And I was like, uh-oh. And shortly thereafter, but the body collapsed. And I would like to put it this way. So this is a story about the formless, and that is that Babaji shed the body for me, and took me out of body. We flew in the Himalayas briefly, and then went into the light. And it was a blue-white light, all knowing, all loving, and it seemed like a moment. 3 days later, I woke up back on Earth, and so it was a really good example of relativity. You know, when you move at light speed, everything else changes behind you. And when I woke up 3 days later, and I felt like I had to go to the bathroom, and Lorraine had been watching over me for all those days, and she came upstairs to where the body had been, and she was like, "Where is he?" Because the body wasn't there, and I was crawling back and forth to the toilet, and I guess I just didn't have any strength or energy to be able to do more. And I got back to bed. I crawled back to the bed, and I just wanted to go back to the light. I didn't want to stay here. And we had brought something called Dr. Christopher's anti-plague formula, which is a very garlic heavy tincture. And so she opened the bottle and poured it down my throat, and it was like, oh. And suddenly I was back in the body, and the entire body was stiff and hurting. And then I had crown chakra headaches for about a year, and every once in a while I'd slip out of body and go to the light and then come back. And so Bole Baba Ki Jai. You know, we tend to think about Babaji and all of the things he did in and with form, but he was also a master of the formless, and that falls into the background sometimes. And it's just beautiful to remember that Babaji's, there was a man named Christian von Trapp who was there, and Babaji called him Black Boy because he needed to learn humility, and he used to wear plastic bags on his head and one thing and another. But he said, Babaji is 10,000 miles above us, and we got to taste that experience. We tend to think, oh, he's just like a guy. There was never another guy like that guy.
Thank you, David. That's great. Thank you.
Mm.
I hadn't heard the one about the cave. That's beautiful.
That was good.
That was very good. I think Joanne wanted to share before she had to leave. Where are you, Joanne?
I'm right here. Thank you.
Great, because I know you have an appointment. So
Yeah,
we'll let her share, and then if somebody has a question or wants to share next. Go ahead, Joanne.
Okay, thank you. Bole Baba Ki Jai.
Yeah.
Thank you. I had some very similar experience as yours. When I was living on Maui, Leonard Orr came there to do a rebirther training up country, and he had just come back from India. And when he mentioned the word Babaji, it kind of had a ring in my heart. And then he scooped me up and took me all over the United States. I typed up his book on physical immortality and trained me as a rebirther for 3 months. And as I was typing, I could type all the time. He would dictate all day when we were traveling, and I would type all night. And I never ran out of any energy because I was repeating the mantra all the time. Om Namah Shivaya. And so then when we got to Campbell Hot Springs, I fell in love with the rebirther there, and I went back to Maui, and then everything started falling apart there. And so I went back, so I moved to San Francisco with this rebirther, and we were becoming, successful rebirthers and all that ego that goes along with rebirthing, I have to say. And I did it for years. And I wrote Babaji a letter and I said, blah, 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 we're very successful. When can I come to India? And he never, I said, please communicate with me in any form. Well, on the Golden Gate Bridge, I'm with my partner, and out of the blue, out across the water is coming this ball of light, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger out across the universe over there, and all of a sudden there's this form inside the light, and it gets real close to me, because this close to my face, and it's Babaji, and he whispers and he says to me, communicates in that form that he does, two instructions in 3 words. And so I said, did you see that? I looked at him apart and go, oh, see what? And so anyway, long story short, everything started falling apart. I wrote to Babaji again, and I said, I surrender. When can I come to India here? And then within 2 weeks, I mean, in those days, you couldn't get a letter back and forth to India in 2 weeks. And I got a letter back and says, Babaji sends his blessings, come the next year. And so then I moved to Europe and started doing rebirthing all over there. And that's when I met Pujari and all the everybody, and it was just great. And so anyway, then I went the next year. And so I waited a year, and it was just being with him that first year. I wasn't sure, I left Haidakhandi that first time knowing 2 things: that we weren't going to have an all-out nuclear war. That was in 1980 or 81, I can't remember, because that was what was on everybody's minds at that time, with Iran and Iraq and everybody, all that stuff going on. And that he was the Lord Shiva. I was certain of that, and that he was my guru, and I followed directions from then on and did everything he said. And I'm so grateful, just so grateful for this community and Babaji, and this is Guru Purnima, and the blessings just keep coming. And then the last time I was with him, the second and last time I was with him, was right before those last 3 months, and that's when I met Gayatri and everybody, and those last 3 months before he took me out. Anyway, thank you so much, and I'm so blessed to be here. I'm sorry I have to leave. It's just a wonderful, wonderful satsang that you're doing, Ramlori. Thank you so much for doing these. It's just a blessing, and Bole Baba Ki Jai.
Baba Ki Jai. Thank you, Joanne. I didn't hear the 3 words he said to you when he came right in front of your face, Joanne.
Yeah, he said meditation and physical exercise.
Uh-huh.
And I've absolutely mastered one of them, and not the other. So I figure I'm going to have the rest of my life to do this. So I'm not in a hurry, okay?
Make sure everyone is muted, please, because there are background noises that are jumping in.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise still, so please, everybody, mute yourself.
Yeah, because sometimes it's bumping against your computer.
Whoever the host is can mute everyone as well. There's a little button you can click to mute everybody.
That's a little problem then. Okay. I think we took it.
Or yeah, at least mute the person.
I didn't, just because then people get on and then don't know how to unmute.
Sure.
But I think we're good, but thank you. So welcome the people who have gotten on since we said hello to everybody, and who would like to share next?
I guess I'll go if nobody else wants to right now.
That'd be great, Joseph.
Sure. I'm very new to the Babaji community. I didn't even know that there was a community until fairly recently. So this is definitely a really good surprise. And, it gives me so much joy to hear everyone's experience and all the magical ways that Babaji has displayed his love. And it just brings me so much joy to hear everyone's experiences. So um, a little background on myself. I had a massive spiritual awakening back in 2014. I had this out of body experience, and my third eye blasted open, and I was getting ready to go through the light. There's this white tunnel just opened up in my bedroom through meditation, and I was like, "Wow, this is the near-death experience that people talk about when, they see that white tunnel." Anyways, long story short, that put into motion the big participation of our own ascension. And years later, I got into energy healing and became very, very proficient and very successful in that. And then as I was exposed to kirtan and chanting, absolutely loved chanting, and it just took to me and it just hit me right in the heart. And so this was about maybe 3 years ago. I was searching for more Om Namah Shivaya mantras on YouTube, and I kept seeing these videos, and they kept having this guy, this guru, this master that people kept showing. Like, who is this guy that everyone keeps having this video of, and they're following him around? And I was so confused, and I was like, he must be somebody really special. And then at that time I had the ability to really project my consciousness and really connect to pictures and places and experiences. And then all of a sudden I locked eyes with Babaji in one of the videos, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks and just zoomed in to this presence and this feeling. And then just out of nowhere, I'm just bawling in tears, and I had this immense longing to be with this individual who I had absolutely no idea who this was. And I was like, what is going on with me? Why do I have the most passionate feeling to be back with this individual who I don't know? And I did a little research, and I was like, wow, this is, Shiva incarnate. And so at that time, I already knew how to channel. I already had just a whole list of profound spiritual experiences. So when I went to channel and connect with Babaji, I think the very next day, the presence of Babaji it felt like he was standing in the room with me in a way that I hadn't experienced yet spiritually. And I was like, oh my gosh, this feels like the individual is right here. And the purity that was emanating from his presence was just awe-inspiring. And then I felt him just grab something about 2 feet in front of my heart chakra and just wrench it open in a way where I was like, I don't even know if I'd even be able to do that in my own progression, where he just wrenched something open in my energetic field. And then just once again, just all of these tears and this pain just poured out of me. And then after the torrential downpour, he put me into this samadhi state where he just pulled my ego into oblivion in a way that I've never experienced before. And that was where I knew that this was something that I needed to follow. I needed to learn more and more about this Babaji. And then it's like ever since then, when I closed my eyes, he would just be in my third eye, just dancing and laughing and having this beautiful time. And so then came where he started to show me his nature, his true nature. And and in the next experience I had with him, as meditating, it was just unbelievably powerful. He comes into my perspective, and he puts out the purest vibration of essence I've ever felt in my life. And his vibration, it did this thing where it drew out any disharmonic aspect of my inner being all at once. And it just pulled everything to the surface for me to see. And it was one of the most humbling experiences I've ever had in my whole life, to feel, um, not only feel something that pure, that emanates that divine light, but that to give you like one of the most comprehensive um, perspectives of oneself that you can get. And it was almost scary, because it was just like, wow, all this is coming out of me. And then and then he leaves, and then after that meditation, he leaves in just this giant flash of light. And I hadn't really learned that he did that at that time, but he left in this ball of light, and just wave after wave after wave after wave were just rolling through me. And I was like, is he still here? Where did he go? Because I had so many connections with the divine, but none had impacted me, or I'd experienced these very particular experiences. Um, and Babaji continued to work with me and to help provide that mirror and that reflection, because I have, my own very strict meditation practice and healing practice, and learning to be of service in the ways that I can, and to answer that calling. And then I wanted to share one more really beautiful experience that Babaji had with me, where it showed a little bit more about my history with Baba. And so I was meditating, and Baba comes in, just emanating this purity and this love. And then all of a sudden, I see him laughing and this all, visionary. And I see him laughing, and then this other Indian dude is standing right next to him. And I'm like, who is this other guy standing right next to him? And he's kind of like, has this real like mischievous smile. And for that moment, I just kind of connected to the other guy, and I recognized that it was my energy, it was myself. There was and then it just, my whole body just goes into goosebumps, recognizing that was myself in another timeline or another lifetime, as a disciple of Baba. And when I felt it was really interesting, because I was able to feel the harmony that I achieved in that body, in that form. And but it was my exact energetic signature of this life. um, and then as I felt that Indian guy kind of merge with me, it felt like, it was really funny, because I felt like I was this Indian guy in this white guy's body, and my room was not the way I wanted it to be, and I was like, what is going on? It was one of the coolest experiences that I've had, to feel as if, this energy from another life got to merge together. But all in all, Baba has taught me, that I have pages and pages of lessons and about worthiness. As I was actually getting nervous of connecting with Baba, because he was so pure, and I was like, man, my energy is not where it needs to be. And it started to make me feel not good enough, or not worthy enough to connect with him, because it was just so powerful every single time. And then eventually, it was all leading up to this lesson, in which he said, be with me, become worthiness. And as that, he held up my energy in this worthiness, and I felt how that emotional embodiment of worthiness directly connects us to the divine, and to our spiritual potential. So that's always stuck with me. It's become worthy of all the love in the universe. And yeah, Baba still continues every single day to give me this beautiful presence. And when I thought of him as a teacher, it caused a little too much like fear in me, because I was like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm still working. I'm still, absolving all my karma from the lives I got lost in. And then he gave me the most reassuring thing. This was actually fairly recently, where I was meditating. He came to me, and he said, I'm not your teacher. I'm your friend right now. And so now Babaji has come with the relationship as being like a best friend. instead of like a teacher or a guru. So it's really, really helped me. And every time it's become just life-changing lessons and perspectives on what it means to be unity, what it means to be in love, and how that reflects onto everyone else. So I think that was just about it. And one last really cool lesson that Babaji taught me that stuck with me was that, you know, as we progress and develop higher sensory or psychic gifts or abilities, I was asking Baba about, I had this experience when I was younger where I was able to see with my eyes closed. And I asked Baba what it would take. I was like, can I have that again? Can I do that again? And Baba says very, very, you know, so subtle with the fewest words, like, uh, it's going to cost you something. And then as he said that, I realized like what that would mean if I was able to do that. It would probably throw off too much harmony. But anyways, long story short, he gives me this energetic answer to my question, is that just becoming yourself, just being yourself in the fullest form is the greatest gift that you have on earth. And that completely just exhausted any type of desire to have, you know, these CDs that don't really kind of help out so much in regards to how you love yourself or the creator. And so yeah, just becoming yourself is one of the greatest gifts you can have, you know, in this reality. So thanks again for letting me share my experience. You know, I didn't even know there was a community until very recently, and it's been very positive just to hear everyone's experiences, and it's very inspiring as well, because not very, you know, as everyone probably knows, there's not very many people that are aware of Baba. But I do teach classes and courses, and I do events, and I show people and relay all the lessons I learned from Baba. And I, you know, because there's so much is missing in Western spiritualism. It's like a wild west. So I feel really good about being able to convey a lot of these deep wisdoms from teacher to student that you probably can't get without having that master's vibration. So yeah, it's been a really beautiful ride, and it's only getting started. So thanks everyone for listening and giving me a chance to share.
Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you.
Thank you. RD?
Good evening to everyone. This is evening time here in India, and I hope my accent is not a problem. I am good in English, but if you don't understand anything of what I say, please let me know. I am actually, of course, a Hindu by birth, and you guys, I am actually a little bit jealous, you know. Why does Baba shower his blessing on you who are not originally Indic by birth or by faith? And he troubles me. He has troubled me not just in this life. This is the first time I'm sharing this experience with you, and I hope something good comes out of it. When I was a small kid, my mother actually had a direct encounter with the she goddess, Durga. She always used to tell me, and I used to hear it. But I thought maybe it is for, you know, I don't know why it happened. My father never used to believe her. But as a kid, I will always believe my mother. I believed her. A generation later, when I grew up, I went to US. I actually stayed in Denver, where Lauren and Davis are, for 3 long years. And then I myself, a generation later, I'm sorry, I'm shivering a little because I'm sharing this experience for the first time. In US, I had an encounter with Almighty myself. He didn't, I had no experience in India. Why he showed me in US, it is still a mystery. First visit to America, and he showed me. I immediately connected that experience with what my mom used to tell me. And the conclusion is not yet arrived. This is 2002 and we are in 2021. 21 years I am actually burning. I searched for a lot of gods, divine places. I went to Haidakhandi in Nainital also. I meditated in that ashram. I saw a lot of Westerners in that ashram. I go to every place where I feel that, peace will come. It has not. In fact, to be very frank with you, in this physical world, my experience have not been good. They have been painful. They have been not just physically painful, I mean soulful painful. For example, when Joseph shared his experience, he talked about experiences out of the body. Similar thing was shared by Davis, Denver, Loran. My experiences have been pain to the soul. I mean, monetary loss is okay, physical harm is okay, but harm to the soul. Why would God hurt the soul of a believer? I don't know whether you have the answer. I don't have the answer. But my request to you is, Babaji in some form or the other has certain, I don't know whether it is blessing or certain hand of his on you all. That's why you and me are together here. Maybe he wants you all to tell me something, you all to become a medium and tell me. Please pray to him. Please ask him that if I'm suffering in this life because of certain bad deeds in my past lives, there is a limit to it. I'm not very much inclined to, succeed in this material world. I have not hurt people. As far as I am concerned, I am an okay person. I'm not what is called papi in Hinduism. But still, my mother had an experience. She had a painful life. She is still having pain. I had an experience and I had a painful life. I'm still having pain. I am a father of two very good kids. I have certain things to be happy also. I'm not saying that everything is wrong. But the inner peace which he reached you all, in some way or the other, he gave you all. He actually, like Davis shared, that he had an experience out of the body. 3 days he went out and came back. I don't know whether anybody can have a bigger experience than this. Even after having the biggest experience, I can sense that Davis is at peace. He actually, what happens with prophets and messengers has happened with Davis right in this life. And he's still at peace. What has happened with Davis has not happened with me, but I'm not at peace. You guys are, I don't know, I'm not trying to show you lower or show myself higher. You guys are not even Hindu by birth. We are all souls. We are all connected with God. We are all one. Whether you are Hindu or Westerner or Easterner, it doesn't matter. Final crux is that if you believe in peace, your soul should not be hurt by the Almighty, who himself is a soul. If he is he, if he is she, I don't know whether it's he or she. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. I would request you to please request Babaji to tell him that please do not trouble good souls. Trouble, maybe if you want to trouble someone, trouble the papis, the wrongdoers, the evil people. Why do you want to trouble someone who is, as far as I know, I am not a bad soul as such. I had an experience I'm sharing with you. there obviously cannot be a bad intention behind me sharing this with you. But somehow I have in my family, me, my younger brother, and my mother, we all three had direct encounter with the Supreme, and all three of us have had a disquiet, painful, mortal life as on date. I am still a believer. There is nothing which can take my belief away from God. I cannot turn an atheist. I am 100% sure some of you would have been an atheist in some point of life and suddenly some experience pulled you towards God or whatever. I was always a believer. I will always be a believer. Even if lot worse experiences happen, my belief cannot go away from me because I have directly seen something, you know. A lot of people believe in God because their parents believed in God, because their grandparents believe in God, because their society believes in God. I have no choice of not believing in God. I have seen something. So even if my experiences are worse, I cannot let that belief go. I would again request Ram, Loti, Davis, Loran, Joseph, and whoever else who had a direct experience with God, with the Babaji, and he gave them peace. Please tell him that it is your duty to give peace to anyone who himself is looking for peace and not spreading disquiet in the world. He deserves peace, and Babaji needs to knock at every such soul and give peace to him. I think that is all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing so deeply. I wonder if somebody has something to respond. I see Pujari, you're back. Gayatri's there. There's Ramlota. Any other person here? Man's there. Anybody has some words for RD or to share?
Well, I think I also arrived to Baba after a very painful experience when I was very young. But I think the question I would ask myself is, who is this one who is asking this, you know? I think that our only hope is to find out, to realize who is this one who is asking this. You are asking to Baba peace, but who is this you who is asking? I would go there because there is no other, there is nowhere else to go. In the end, we are there. When you sit in front of a picture of Lord Shiva or whatever God you worship, it's you there sitting. We have only this sense of being. Is our only capital. And if we investigate on that, we can find whatever we need to find. Whatever there is to find, there is nothing outside of us. I read some great saints said that God lives only in the heart of man. I don't know what else to say.
Well, if I may, Ramlota and Ramloti, responding a little bit to Ramlota's explanation or words to give to our friend, I had a similar, deep experience of where the idea of a pujari or a me dropped away when I was very young, 22, 23, when I call it the wake-up call that Babaji gave me. When I was a shopkeeper, I had shops, and from one morning I couldn't do what I was doing anymore. I just felt my mind was completely taken away, and I was walking through the streets like a newborn baby, enjoying life with a peaceful presence and happiness that I could not describe. And my friends thought I kind of went crazy because I couldn't do what I was doing anymore. And for more than a week, I was staying in that connected oneness state where everything is such beautiful, every leaf, every bird, every being, and there was no fear for life, and just an incredible presence took over me.
No,
That is really what we are. That is in that divine realm. That was like the deepest realization of what I am was happening naturally to me through a shock state of, and from that moment I could leave eating meat, leave my business, leave my studio, leave my everything. I said, life, you don't need nothing to be happy. All the things I was doing, I looked at it, it's pointless. There is no happiness to find in everything what I was doing with all my music and organizing concert and playing music. It was all such an illusion to give energy to that, because I experienced a happiness and a peace which was I couldn't understand. I had no spiritual framework also to relate to that, but that was the realization that the beauty of life is that I am. And I could not speak much about it, although I had a brother I could speak to. He said, well, just I will take time out. After it took me a week, more than a week in that state. And then my mind came stronger back and said, I want to live like this. This was what my mind was telling me for one day. I want to live like this. So that made me a spiritual seeker. And that was probably the biggest mistake that I believed my mind on that moment, that I was wanting to go and live like that. But anyway, to make it from there, I found my road to Babaji as first through a Zen master who said, no, but you need much training to be able to stay in that state. It was just a wake-up call for a week that I had an experience of how it is to live life when the idea of you or me is gone. And that is the most precious, beautiful moments of my life, I must say. It came back many moments, but not in that intensity of being awake, walking in light and seeing everything like a child with a beauty from the heart, which was divine. Anyway, to continue, when I read a book about Swami Rama and I saw a picture of old Haidakhandi Baba, then I had to cry and cry and cry because I felt a relationship, which I also could not explain, but it was another Baba reaching out to me. And from that moment, I started to really look for Haidakhandi Baba or Babaji, and because I felt that connection. So from that moment, I found my road, and 1 year later, I was walking up to Haidakhandi and saw the divine form. But to give our friend a little bit more an answer, it is really karma. Even Baba said, karmas are karmas. We have to go through that. Babaji can soothe us and show us the way and give us experiences, but still, he cannot change all our karmas. What is built up in our karmic residue, we have to walk through it. Whatever beautiful or painful it is, we have to walk through it. And through that, we learn our human lessons of how to walk in this life in beauty. I can share a moment which I love to share now. David and Lorraine are also here. But when I was sitting in front of Babaji singing the arti to him, he was sitting in such a beautiful form with a shawl tied around his head and a beautiful feather, big feather was stuck in there. And while we were singing the arti, and I was playing the harmonium. I've told this before, but I like to tell it to Lorraine and Davis also. And while I was playing, I thought, wow, Baba looks so beautiful. He is like an American Indian chief. He must be the chief of all these American Indians. And Baba was kind of looking at me with such a glow, and he picked up an apple and throws this at me over my harmonium, ploop, in my lap. I said, wow, this is so amazing, that I'm sitting here playing in front of he's the Lord. He's really the divine Lord of this universe. And again, he picked up this mala from his head and he threw it over the harmonium, plop, in my lab. That kind of confirmation, probably I still needed it, but that kind of confirmation and communication with Babaji is like, at the same time, he's nothing. He's a mirror who's just soothing us and slowly guiding us. Just walk life as beautiful as you can. You cannot, Baba could not awaken all of us or take all our pain away. We have to walk through a lot of pain, but don't take it personal. Ultimately, our soul, which is free, joyful, peaceful, is also there. But it's like we are in a duality. We think we are also physical. So on that realm, we have to walk through the pain of being in this realm. And at the same time, we can almost flip back and forward, because this pure presence of light is always there. That's indestructible, and that is our main connection. So I don't know if this helps our friend, but this is a little bit also my story, where I saw Babaji as a divine being beyond form, beyond anything. He can pop up, or he's always there. He's not need to pop up, he's always there. It's only if we get out of the way, he's fully there. Like that's why I shared my experience. When I was completely gone, then I only see God. I only saw beauty. I only saw peace. I only saw an incredible other universe. But to stay there, I don't know. Probably it needs the final cleaning up of all our karmas before we can walk hand in hand with Baba, almost like Joseph was explaining. If we are truly cleaned up, we can walk hand in hand with Baba and see the same or have a similar experience. But that's beyond. I cannot hardly imagine the consciousness in which Babaji was being with us. It is beyond I cannot even start to give it any words. Such a divine presence, such a divine me being, mirror, innocent, playful, childish. He has all these divine qualities from where I'm far on this human walking the path. But at the same time, all this light is accessible to us. So it's a beautiful journey. However painful it can be at times, keep walking. One day the door will open and we see the deeper light and the illusion of our pain. I think that's the words I can give to our friend. What was it? RD? Yeah.
I am Rakesh Dubey. I am a Brahmin. I am a Brahmin by birth. A Brahmin who's supposed to have the maximum knowledge according to Hindu literature, and I always believed in God. My mother, like I said, she actually saw goddess. I believed her. My father did not. And I thought, why would my mother lie? I mean, there is no reason for a mother to lie to her child. 20 or maybe 30 years down the line, he shows himself to me. Obviously, I should connect the dot. He told me to connect the dots. Those dots are ending up in, like I said, it is pain. It is pain. Actually, it is pain. But I'm walking like Gerard just said. I'm walking, I will walk. After seeing God, you cannot unsee him, him or her, whatever.
Thank you. Gayatri, you have something.
Please pray to Babaji to knock at my soul, please. Thank you.
I'm going to knock right now.
knock.
Okay, so he said connect the dots. So when you started speaking to us, you referred to Westerners and Indians. Why he go to a Westerner and not an Indian? Then you said you had your experience in America and not in India. These are all dots. What you're talking about is dots. And those dots are an illusion. And so connecting the dots is bringing them all into one. And when you realize your oneness with everything, with all that exists, but especially with your idea of God, then you will have freedom. And so all these, we live in like a movie, and God is the light that projects it. And we are part of that light. So we are not Hindus, we are not Brahmins, we are not Americans, we are not from here or there. It's all an illusion, that. And that's only going to cause you pain, because then somebody has more than you or less than you. Somebody is closer to God, more distant to God. So I really reiterate that message you received, to connect the dots until there is only one. And then all that pain will be gone. And as you said, please ask Babaji to do this for me. Okay, I can't do that, because there is nothing separate. You're asking yourself. So the very thing that you said you would ask of Babaji to bring peace to every being, that ask of yourself, because God is in you. It's not separate from you. There's nobody up there to ask and send a message or pray to. It's inside of you. So if you can find that peace inside of you and give it to the whole world, then you are an instrument of that divine energy. And if you separate and get mad, because it's kind of arrogant to say you must give peace to everybody. You know, I can't ask him that. Because there is no him. For me, there is no him. I have to embody.
I didn't say everybody. Give
Well,
peace to
whoever you
someone
are.
who.
I'm just saying, you embody that peace that you want him to give you. You embody it. Find it inside yourself. It's there. It's there.
Yeah,
it's love and
right. It's there, but it is such a horrendous or complicated or intrinsic, or I don't know it. That quest is many lives. It is very easy to say it is within you, find it. I agree. I agree to what you say. But that quest may take many lives. To find yourself may take many lives.
And it may take.
I hope you agree. It may take an instant also.
We don't know. We don't know. Oh, it can happen in an instant. All of us who have talked about an awakening, it happened like that, in the smallest shift. And all of a sudden our consciousness was one. So many.
Right. I am requesting Babaji for that instant. I'm requesting Babaji through you for that instant, please.
Pujari's words, stories also triggered the memory in me. We were in August in Haidakhandi. Monsoon was in full power. So not many people in the ashram, maybe 30, something like this. So one evening we go for Aarti for Baba Darshan, and we are 21. And we knew that some people had a fever, very high fever. And they were stayed in the rooms, they were fall sick. So Baba did his darshan, and he looked at a certain point, counting, and he saw that it was less than usual, but he didn't say anything. So next morning, we went up to Baba Darshan, we were in 3. All the others had 42 degrees of the fever, very high dengue fever, I think it was. So Baba looked at us and said, "Where is everybody?" And he said, "Baba, they are all sick." And Baba shook his head very lovingly and said, "You suffered so much to come here. To be able to come here, you suffered so much. Now you have to go in the room of all these people and tell them, you suffered so much to be able to come here. Baba doesn't want you to suffer anymore." Because you were saying before, like Baba is hurting you or trying to inflict pain on you for some reasons. You know, it doesn't work like that. That thing is all loving. It's incredibly loving. It's a love so big that it's scary for us. So that was a wonderful morning we had, because I had to go, we divided, it was 8 people each. We went in each room and told everybody in their bed, look, Baba said that you suffered enough. Now you have to be well. Baba wants you to be well and happy. And that was such a beautiful morning, because I saw all the smiles lighting up the faces of our friends in bed. So
Yeah.
be happy.
And there's just so much suffering that does happen in life karmically. You know, Gayatri can speak of that very recently, and no loved ones passing away, just accidents, illness, so much suffering. And that's part of it. But it's when it's our attachment, it's my attachment to it, and to it being a particular way that causes the pain. The other is seeing it and staying with my practice as best I can, and just realizing that this is all like a movie, like Gayatri said.
What we truly are is completely unaffected by what happens in our lives. What we truly are is untouched by all of it. Find the diamond. Lorraine had something to say, Ramla.
Thank you, Gayatri.
Yeah.
Brother. I love you. You find the place for you to love you too. We have all suffered. We have all been humbled. And it doesn't just stop. When we tell our happy, wonderful stories, that doesn't mean tomorrow we might fall apart. The teachings keep coming. Remember, you are love. You are love. And I see it.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you.
RD, I wanted to add something. When we went to see Babaji, we were in Haldwani at Kailash View Motel, Sri Muni Raj's place. And on that Sunday before we had gone up, a German woman came and she said, Babaji, where's Babaji? And we said, well, he's up in Haidakhandi. And she goes, I have to see him now. And so, we said, well, the porter and everything is for tomorrow. And so anyhow, she left in a huff. And then the next day when we got up there, we didn't see her. And I asked Sheila Devi about that. And she said, oh, Babaji kicked her out. She traveled up there, that evening. No sooner did she get there than Babaji kicked her out. And I said, oh, that's horrible. And Sheila says, no, she saw him. She was touched by him. She has many lifetimes. She has many lifetimes, and she will have to go through what she has to go through karmically and otherwise. But what Sheila was adamant about is that she saw him. When we were there, I really believe that he was a hologram. I was always surprised when he would touch me and that his hand didn't just pass right through my arm or whatever, or that he could walk through walls. And he never did that. And then one day we were in the garden and singing bhajans to him, and he was painting. And all of a sudden, as I looked at him while singing, there was a swirl of energy in his chest, and it opened up, and I could see a hummingbird feeding on the flower behind him. Now I saw that hummingbird fly back there just before that event. And then Baba just turned and looked at me like, did you see that? And it was beyond. It was like, oh yeah, He really is more like a hologram. I hear what you're saying about the pain in your heart, and I have a lot of compassion for you and for everybody else who is struggling, especially in these times. And I want you to know that I'm including you in my prayers now. When I'm at my puja altar, I'm including you in my prayers to open, for your heart to be open, and for the light to come in, peace to fill you as only peace can.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And thank you for your courage, because what you are saying, you are speaking for many.
Yes.
Only thing is he wants me to connect the dots. That responsibility is giving me
About the
pain.
dots. Don't worry about the dots.
In pure space, there are no dots.
And jap karo.
Keep it simple. Keep it very, very simple right now. You're right on the edge. Keep it very simple. Don't complicate it.
I'm perfectly fine. I mean, from what I understand, you may be getting a feeling that I am a little bit aggressive or, harsh in my speech. But rest assured, you must have had your experiences with God maybe in last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. My previous generation had experience with God. So if he wants me to be harsh or at peace, no one can stop it. What I'm trying to say is, when I express myself to you today, I got a feeling that you all can sense that I am a little uneasy, a little harsh, a little in pain or whatever. But this pain is not new. I have been living with this pain since last 20, 30 years. So please don't get alarmed by all this. I have been on the edge since last, so many years. Only thing is, I want to enjoy maybe being on that edge, be at peace while being at that edge. That's all I want. It's not easy, but I'm sure if you pray, if Devi's prays, something will happen, because we all are one single soul. If my soul is pained, your soul is pained. If your soul find peace, my soul should find peace.
We'll try our best.
Could I add something?
Sure, go ahead, Hiraman. Good to have you.
Yeah. The mantra that Baba gives us over and over and over again, Om Namah Shivaya, it's the mantra of perseverance. I bow to Lord Shiva. It doesn't mean that everything is all sunshine and rainbows, but it's how we perceive them. Listening to Ramlota, just in those few words, everything was crystal clear to me. And listening to Pujari, I had an image of, when Baba would walk through the mud wouldn't get on his feet. I saw this hundreds of times. I'm like tenderfoot, walking over stones, hobbling along, dirty feet. Baba, he walked through, our karmas are like mud. We can walk through them and let the mud cling to us, or we can just walk through them, know that it's just stuff. Know that we'll do better tomorrow. We'll do better the next moment, it's all Om Namah Shivaya. Everything, just have to remember when you hear a knock at the door, open it wide.
I had something to kind of add to what you said about the Om Namah Shivaya, how it relating to perseverance. When I started chanting, I was attracted to that mantra, but I was singing other mantras with it as well, and I would unlock them. Some like mantras you don't just get their powers right off the bat. You may have to say them for thousands and thousands of times before you find the meaning. And with Om Namah Shivaya, I always felt like I'd never really cracked it open. And it took me about close to about 6 years of chanting it, and realizing one day that if I persevered, I would feel it. I would really get in touch with it. And so if you stick with it, perseverance, you keep that sincerity of heart, that desire, that pure desire, the universe will have to respond. So I just wanted to add that about that mantra. It took a long time for me to connect to it, but I stayed with it, and I didn't get down, or I just knew that one day, I'll open up to it.
Thank you, Joseph. So if somebody would like to share their story or give more input into what we're talking about now. Biggie, did you raise your hand?
Yes, I did.
Oh, good. Your
Can you hear?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, good. I'm so sorry. Last time it didn't work. I was on my computer and I had somebody really try to fix my audio, and this time I'm on my iPhone again. It's not very comfortable, but it's okay. So I can relate very well with what Joseph said, because out of the blue, I saw the image of Babaji in the internet. I used to do a lot of meditations and but I was not really inclined towards anything, and that was in just before Christmas 2019 that I first saw him on the internet, and I think it was through a video about Steve Jobs, who apparently came to the Haidakhandi ashram at the time. So when I saw for the first time the image of this being, I was totally blown away. I did not know what happened to me. All I knew was that I wanted to know more about him and to learn more about him. And then I was caught in these moments of where I was just crying so much. I did not know what was really happening to me. It was just pouring out of me. And then there were moments of very deep peace. So two very unexpected emotions, really. And then I found out that I had a dream, and I realized it was Babaji coming to me in my dream. I just was on the verge of waking up in the morning, and I had realized that he had exhaled on my face, and I was supposed to inhale in the same moment. And in the same moment, I had this very intense scent of a very strong exotic scent, I would say. So ever since I have this very strong pull towards him. It is a very deep longing. It's a very deep longing. And I have to connect with him every day, and he is present throughout the day. And I'm very happy. I'm very fulfilled that I overcame certain moment where I realized that so many people had met him when he was still in his body, but not I. And then I found these terrific videos of Ramloti, and I got in touch with Ramloti, and seeing the videos and seeing him, and sometimes also hearing his voice, and his reaction, his face was very soothing, and that really helped me a lot. And I read somewhere that one devotee, he said that Babaji had said that when he's not in his body anymore, when he has, after Mahasamadhi, that the people he would know about him would be his true devotees. So yeah, I think that it is so important and precious that we get to share these moments all together, and yeah, and learn from each other. And yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ramoti.
Thank you, Vicky.
And then Radesh, I wanted to tell you also how I arrived to Baba. That is also the the original question of this satsang. You know, I visited India in '78 when I was 21 years old, after my mother killed herself. It was a very tragic moment, and after a few months of turmoil in the family, some kind of peace came, and I felt that I had to go away, far, far, far away. So I wanted to go to Mexico, but I didn't have the money, so I chose the second best, that was India. And so I left to India by train, by hijacking, bus, or whatever mean to travel. After many coincidences, I arrived myself to where Baba was. But I wasn't going to see him because I was not interested in spirituality at all. I was not looking for a guru. I thought that I met in India two kind of Westerners, the hippies, they were thinking to smoke a lot, and the spirituals that I saw as fanatics. So I was not interested to at all to a guru. I was on my way to Nepal. This was my plan. And I heard of this, somebody had told me of this man, and suddenly I said, okay, I want to visit him. It's on the way to Nepal, and I want to visit him. So I arrived there, and the first moment I laid my eyes on him, it was 20 meters away. My first impression was, but I know you. I know you. I felt that I knew him. It was so familiar. But okay, then all things start to happen. My mind start judging whatever was happening. This one, fanatic, shaved head, all crazy people like this. And I started staying there. I stayed on 2 days. Baba was allowed to stay. The next day was a big fire ceremony. I didn't know anything about it, but they let me participate, see it. And then there was this Italian lady, Goradevi, who was very close to Baba. And so after lunch, Baba was leaving with his small entourage of people who were 8 with him traveling. And so Goradevi came up to me, this lady, and said, you can come to salute him, to say goodbye to him. And I said, yes, I come. So I arrived there, I make pranam, and not pranam because I didn't make pranam, I made like this with my folded hands, like respectfully, but no pranam. And Baba looked at me and said, you can ask me anything you want. And he never, ever told me that any more. And I don't know how, I heard my voice. I didn't know what to say because I was not prepared. And then I hear my voice saying, I want to come with you. But I never thought of it. My voice said it. And so, and he was very sweet, and he made like this, very sweet, with no, you go back your country, but very loving and sweet. So I felt a slight disappointment in that moment, but I was there to go to Nepal. I was not really interested. And so I said, okay, goodbye, whatever, and off he went. And I went to Nepal and I stayed 4 months more in India. Then I came back in this was 78. And all my life changed in Italy. All my friends changed. It was total revolution without understanding how and what. And then they gave me the book of Yogananda. So I read about this story. It was interesting, but still I was very doubtful. I didn't really trust. And then I had a dream about September 80, September, October, of Babaji, who told me, come, very strong. And I said, whoa. And I woke up, I said, oh, strange dream. And then 3 days later, again, the same dream. And Baba looked at me and said, come. And so I said, oh, then maybe I have really to go. But I had not an idea of a guru, you know, I was not looking for a guru. I was not interested. And so I had a problem, didn't have a passport because of army duty. Anyway, after a while, everything solved. They give me free, I take the passport, and in November, I arrive in India, in Haidakhandi. And the Baba was there. And when I saw him, he was on the Gufa side. I met first Goradevi and said, Babaji is on the other side there on the Gufa. So I went there and I saw him, I sat there and I had this burst of love coming out of me. You know, I was looking at him and saying, I love you. And there was this, and I saw that when I was having this, he was looking at me. And I said, oh, he can feel that, no? he can feel that this thing of love. And then there was a very beautiful Indian woman with him, and she was, in my opinion, flirting a little bit with him. So I had this kind of judging the thoughts, and whatever I was judging, he would do like this. He would become very, very judging also himself. Like, it was so funny. And but then at a certain point he turned to me, I had this burst of love, and he told me, I'm coming up in the garden. You go wait for me in the garden of the temple up. So I went up, I sat there, and after half an hour like this, arrived a lady with an harmonium, and it was Sheila Devi. And she started playing and singing on Om Namah Shivaya. And I didn't hear the bhajan since 2 years before, and there were some cassettes for sale, but I refused to buy it. I didn't buy any picture of Baba because I was not interested officially in that. And so she started singing Om Namah Shivaya. People started singing Om Namah Shivaya. And all in a sudden, I felt with absolute certainty that I had arrived home, that my ship was in a safe harbor. And then I could put all my pain there, all my love, and he would have never had abandoned me, and he would have never failed me. And it was such a relief that I started crying. And I cried for about 30 minutes, but like tears coming, so much crying that Radhesham, who was a good old Radhesham, who was in charge of the office and welcoming the newcomers, came up to me and said, is everything fine? And I looked at him and said, I'm so happy. And I was crying. I cried for 20 minutes, half an hour. And then Baba came up in the garden and gave me my name. And yeah, I hope, Radesh, that you can find that somehow.
I hope I will cry like that.
Yes,
someday.
Yes. We have to cry a lot, you know, to get that. Doesn't come for cheap.
Thank you, Ramlota.
You're welcome.
Hi, can I ask you questions? Because that just came in my mind. Hello.
Yeah.
Can I speak?
Yes, Tatiana. Tatiana, speak.
It's regarding the topic that just popped up regarding karma and all that stuff. I think it's more of rhetorical question for me, but I just actually wanted to speak about it. Maybe I will feel better. That what RD was speaking about suffering and pain of the people. Actually, my life is okay. I mean, I don't complain about my life at all. But very often when I'm hearing like other people's stories, like when they, sorry, when they're in pain or something like that. Oh, sorry. It's hard to speak somehow.
I'm sorry, Tati.
Sorry, just a second. Very often in my mind rise a question like, why people suffer and why Babaji gives so hard time sometimes to people who loves him the most. Sorry.
You take a breath, Tatjana. Take a second. Just something is moving and it's okay.
Yes, those tears are medicine for the earth.
It's not about me. Like, I mean, when last time Gayatri was speaking, or like when I see other people like Prem Baba, he lost his family, yeah, and like when Pujari was speaking story how like what he was suffering through, I always think like why, like I know that it's karma and probably Babaji knows best what is better for his devotees, and somehow I'm like, why so hard time to people who love him so much? Sorry. So
I actually think I don't know. I don't know about karma. I don't know if there's reincarnation. I don't know. But I often feel that the hardships and also for sure the hard teachings when I was with Babaji are the fastest way for me to awaken. That it's out of great love, maybe tough love, but great love that he gives me these, or that these experiences, I can't even say he gives me, that these experiences happen to me. I feel in a way it's just, I can't see why, and so the mind may think, oh, why you do this to me? But it's I always feel it's always with the greatest love. So somehow that it's a gift, even though in the moment I may not see it that way. And I can say also that the few times that I have popped into oneness, I really clearly saw that there is no death, and that there is no that what I am is untouched by what may happen to me. So that gives me great strength. I mean, my heart may be breaking, and I let it break every time, even with that memory or that knowing that it's untouched. But you know, the tears come and let them fall. My son cries even if he has to tell me he didn't like something that I said to him. He cries like that. And I always, since he was little, I just tell him, those are such good medicine for the earth. Let them flow, let them flow. Just such good medicine, also for our hearts. So your tears are touching us in such a beautiful way.
I don't mean it.
It's really beautiful, so no need to apologize. But in answer to your question, I really feel that, well, for me, anytime he slapped me or he threw me out or he beat me with a stick, those were the times where I got the message very fast. I mean, I woke up to what I was doing, what I was thinking, you know, and then the other times where there was just great love, yes, that's wonderful. And it sustains you through the other part. But, you know, I really was asking, and I think we were all asking, whatever it takes for us to be true simplicity and love, and all the rest that's in the way, just, you know, whatever you have to do, that's Om Namah Shivaya. For me, that's Om Namah Shivaya. I surrender to the infinite wisdom because I don't know. So I you know, Om Namah Shivaya gets me through everything, actually. It's the one thing, it's my anchor in the storm. because I don't know and I don't see the bigger picture. And maybe what's happening is exactly what needs to happen. It must be if it's happening. So I've learned to try as much as possible not to fight with what is. And
when I came first time to Haidakhandi, I remember like I met one of the devotee and I'm speaking with him, and then he's like saying like about his kids, and then he says like, oh, one of my daughters, she died from cancer, and I was like, it actually was like I was like I couldn't comprehend it, like, oh, he's Babaji devotee and still like I think the loss of a child is so hard. It's like I don't have kids yet, but I'm sure that it's gonna be so painful. And I'm just thinking like, and like he went through this pain for sure, and like how come? I mean, I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to say that because it just often pops up in my mind, like when I hear that, and maybe it's not only because I'm so compassionate, no, because I have maybe on the other hand, I also have a kind of fear that I'm not that kind of that protected, that anytime can happen something with me as well, like so like heart or like some stuff, and yeah, maybe it's like not too much compassionate how it would look like, how what I'm saying now. Anyway, and I also have like often have a question in my mind about karma, like because before I even came to Haidakhandi, I heard many people saying that like karma can be changed, and it's not. A few masters like and very powerful masters were saying that like it can be changed, and also like I heard even like when I read about Babaji also. He was often saying that like he can take people's karma, and even like people were supposed to die somewhere and they just got it in the crash, like but they didn't die, and then he said they were supposed to die, right? And I remember also Aditya Raj Kapoor, he once said that Babaji took his palm and he said like no, like all gone, yeah. So it's basically also can be said that it can be changed. And on the other hand, some people say that karma has to be lived, like you have to live your karma, you have to go through. So I don't know, for me it's kind of dilemma still, whether the karma can be changed or you have to go through karma and live through it. I don't know.
The only sure
I think
the only sure thing I know about karma is that it is beyond the human mind to be able to understand it. So we'll never be able to understand the karma. It's not something you can understand.
For me, it's a feeling that it's like continuously tests on our way. It's how we deal with what is in front of us. Sometimes hardship, bigger or less, but I feel that sometimes it is like a testing of ourself, of our soul. How do we deal with it? How do we get out of it? Do we let go of things because maybe sometimes there are certain patterns that come back, maybe for instance in a family, certain patterns that come back in a family, and it's how you deal with it.
Sandra, did you want to share something? You had put your hand up.
Yeah, I actually, not to change topic or anything, but I had a question. We're talking about tears, which flow frequently and at unexpected times. And I guess my question is, many numerous times that I've been to Haidakhandi and Chilianola for the festivals, I sometimes I'm sitting in the arti and I will get overwhelmed. Just you feel a wave come through you, and next thing you know, you have tears flowing for still yet to understand why, but you have these releases. And I've been handed, this may be something that RD might be able to speak to, but I've been handed by several notes from Indian Hindu locals, and including Arvind Lal afterwards, saying, hey, if you really want to learn spirituality, we'll teach you how to be spiritual without shedding tears. And that's stuck with me, and it's resonated. And it's kind of a difference in culture, perhaps, because in our Western culture, tears are a release, and they show some form of acknowledgement of these unexpected tears. But in the Hindu culture, it's a weakness, and I'm just wondering if anybody could possibly explain to me why I'm being told in artis during festivals that crying is a weakness and not appropriate. And I don't quite understand that. But.
Well, may I first say something? Also, as a bhajan player, I've played so many times in front of Babaji, and my heart is often melting, and it's maybe a weakness in the sense if an emotion is too strong, and it can be from fear, or that you see terror happening, or you see violence happening, that you want to cry. And you can cry from happiness that you won the golden medal or something. You see many sport people these days, they cry in Tokyo because they win a golden medal, and you should be happy. So crying is a kind of an expression from something is too much. And it can be from pain, from you lose 5 people in 1 month and you're crying for 1 month. Or you win 5 golden medals and you're crying from happiness. So this to give some perspective with what is tears, what is crying. I have often, almost every other day when I walk into my temple room where I pray and sometimes sing, I cry just by entering it. I bring Baba a glass of water, I do a few ceremonial stuff, but I'm so touched just stepping in this room, and I don't know why, but this is for me another sensitivity. I feel just connecting with another presence of Baba, and I find that incredibly beautiful and valuable, that I can almost sense my heart is still very vulnerable and alive to connect with Baba. And I'm so thankful that it happens to me. It's because you cannot do it in one way. It's a devotional space. Some call it bhava. No, I think it's not a weakness at all. It's more want to put it on the highest level of its bhava. It's just the ultimate devotion. I think Ramakrishna cried every other day for Mother Kali, and there RD is nodding, so I can see, yeah, there are many who see that very differently, and Amma also, can be very overwhelmed with emotion. So, and me too, I am many times I can be overwhelmed with emotion, but also I can cry as a release. I remember with Aurelio and Gayatri, they put me on a mountain on a vision quest for 1 week. The first day, I was only crying because my daughter was sick and some other horrible things happened in my life. And I just cried my eyes out for the whole, I said, what am I sitting here on the mountain? They need my help. And I was just a week on this mountain. But after 3 days, I was completely empty. I even remember that Gayatri came to me with Aurelio, maybe after 6 days, that I was sitting with nothing, no food, no drink, just on 4 square meters on a mountain they put me. But I remember when Gayatri came to see me with Aurelio, she started to cry because I was in another dimension. My sense of me was gone. I was just melted with nature. Remember that moment, Gayatri? Checking in. Yeah, it was an incredible experience. But tears of joy, but tears of devotion is for me the most beautiful thing. And I completely feel it as a soft release of understanding what the divine, how it wants to communicate with me, rather in silence. Just sit quietly and feel touched by the divine. I think that's what you're expressing, Sandro, that I would value that very highly and deeply say that is the doorway to getting through that spacious realm where you are nobody, and the divine light, how Lorraine and David, that they explain it so beautiful. This realm, for me, that's the door of sensitivity and getting out of the way. And it happens with me a lot by that devotional melting of the heart, I would call it. Yeah.
I saw Anita raise her hand before.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh,
Or Lorraine,
Yes?
did you want to say something?
Oh, just briefly, Baba Harida.
sorry.
Baba
Sorry.
Harida used to say that crying washes the eyes of the soul so that we can see things clearly.
Mm.
Ja, nu wel.
Okay, Annemar, you're on.
It is. I was still on the karma subject, so the subject changed. So I was just something popped up when you were talking about karma. So I don't know if I can tell it or
Sure.
share it. Oh, okay. Yes, about the karma, it is like Ramlota says, it's so for us so not to understand with the mind at all. But we are very much, it is our life also. So that's a bit strange. But I have an experience with my father who was about to die, and he left his family when I was 16, and I hadn't seen him for more than 20 years. And we connected again, and that was, of course, very not easy and fragile and well, a lot difficult things. But he had a huge feeling of guilt about how he had his life with his leaving his children. And I said, for me, it's fine, we can be together now, but I felt he couldn't forgive himself. And when he was suffering, and I tried to talk to him, you can't change it, and the fact that we are together now is okay. So, but to come to the point is that when he was about to die, I saw that was quite a struggle for him, and it was a matter of hours. And I was sitting next to his bed, and I saw him going in and out of life, sort of. And I had my hand on his hand, and I was just wondering if when he floated away, if he was coming back again or not. And then suddenly, he was so far away, suddenly he opened his eyes, that was difficult for him. And he saw my hand on his hand, and he looked at these hands, and it was so soft, his energy was so soft. And he looked at me and he said, "We love each other, don't we?" And I said, "Yes, we do." And at that moment, I felt his karma there was so much karma taken away. And it was this love that took it. And I thought later, because my mother died in bitterness before, 6 months before. So it was a huge difference. And when he had not done that, when that was not happened, it would have been so different for him, I think. Maybe for me too, but I still have to live. So that I think about karma, that to understand it is very hard. And maybe for me, I read about it, a lot of books, and try to understand it, but it seems also very intricate too. So last week I was in the Doenie in the morning in the Ashram in Holland. And the night before, there was a quite difficult conversation I was having with somebody, and it really got me a bit out of balance. Then I was in the Doenie the next morning for the Havan ceremony, and the person I had the conversation with was there too. And it got me again a bit upset. And then during Havan, there came this immense compassion from Babaji's portrait that filled the whole Duni. And also that I felt, I took a bath. You know, I think this is important. This is what he's doing now is really important. This feeling of pure compassion, I just go into it, and when I get out of it, I will remember it, that it was here. When I need it, or when I forget about it, or maybe in situations, but it solved everything. So also this compassion was so healing, but also for karma, I think. So it's love and compassion that takes away this karma, I think. And it's not like, okay, I'm gonna love you, or I love everybody. It's hard work, because we're human, we cannot love all the time. Well, you know all better than me, I guess. But that was what came into my mind when we were talking about karma. Yeah. So, Bole Baba Ki Jai.
Jai, thank you.
I could speak about that. I think that was really beautiful. You know, that's what life's about. In those moments, you know, we don't get rid of our karma. We can't get rid of our karma. But in those beautiful, pure moments when we're one and not doing, but just really being, we can let go of our karma.
Yeah.
And your dad, he was in that moment. He saw, he let go. You know? And Baba gives us this love over and over and over again to coax us into those moments where we can let go. And we can really let ourselves shine and let love come through for us. Not just for ourselves, but so that love comes through and we become human. Baba talks so much about becoming human. And that's human. You know, those moments are human. And in that magical place, karma can be let go.
Yes, so what I like to add is that you do not have, my father didn't believe, you know, so it has nothing to do with that.
Yes, doesn't
Nothing.
matter.
Yes, nothing. It just was so divine moment. That's it. Just closeness and connectedness, yeah. But not religion or belief, no.
No limits, you know, just pure being.
I was trying to think what I wanted to share on this satsang. And because I've shared some stories and I don't want to repeat myself, but one day it was my duty to work in the office in the mornings. And I was with Radhasham and Om Shanti. And so Babaji would usually go down to the stones to where people were working. And so in the office, you didn't get to see him. And so one day he came to the office and he kind of glided around looking at the books and talking to Radhasham and checking Om Shanti. And there was, you know, a couple of people with him following him. And then he glided out. And I remember sitting there and I was just so kind of sad. He didn't come over to my desk and say hi or anything, you know? And so I was just kind of sitting there, darn. And then you could see he went around, down, out the ashram and over to where the, what is it, the post office over there across from the ashram. And all of a sudden the phone rang in the office. And And Om Shanti picked it up and she said, "It's for you." And she handed me the phone. And it was Babaji calling me from the post office. It was so sweet. He goes, "Hello." I was like, oh my God, it was just so beautiful that he, fulfilled that desire right away, even better, because getting the phone call was even better than if he'd come over and just looked at my desk. So I was so happy. And I was trying to think how I actually got to him in the first place, because I was such a party girl in New York and Studio 54. I was like, what the heck? But then I remembered that my parents took us on a Young Presidents Organization tour, YPO tour, to Spain. And we went on this cruise to all these different sites in Spain and Portugal. And at the time, I was reading a book by Rashad Field. I think it was The Last Barrier, was the title. And it was about his spiritual journey with his guru, Hamid. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful book. And so I remember I went out on the end of that boat at night, and I said to the universe, I said, if there's a teacher for me out there, like Hamid was for Rashad Field, if there's a teacher out there, please find me. I'm ready. I want to find you. And I completely forgot about that when I ended up going to Campbell Hot Springs and Leonard and all the things, the miracles that happened afterwards for Babaji to call me. But actually, I called him first, I realized, and I had forgotten that. So it was really sweet to remember that and realize that he also fulfilled that wish. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to share for Guru Purnima today.
He couldn't do anything else,
Yeah.
His nature is like this,
Fullness.
This is Rita on the phone. Can you hear me?
Hi, love. Yes, we can hear you. Hi, big hugs.
I just want to say that this satsang has been filled with grace and love and truth from your hearts. And I'm so honored to be on the call with my brothers and sisters in Babaji. And I just am so honored to listen to your stories and your truth. And it's, yeah. Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you, Rita.
Thank you, Rita.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh.
So beautiful. Thank you all. So beautiful.
Moni, are you raising your hand? Yes. Manjari. Yes, Manjari.
Yes, Mandala. Yes. Hi. It's about crying for God, and it's how I met Babaji. So this is it just came in my mind because so I knew Babaji 1991. I read the book Autobiography of a Yogi, and just before I came to the page of Babaji, who was written Babaji, I met new friends, and they invited me to the ashram in Germany, to Riferat, where Muniraj and Sastriji were visiting. And I was really kind of, hippie and party girl and like, who? And I was like, okay. And we went into this tent, I did know nothing at all. And we went into this tent. I had a dirty jeans, a t-shirt, go for a pranam, to Muniraj. And I was doing pranam to a big picture of Babaji. And there was such an incredible energy. And then I did pranam to Muniraj. And I went back to the wrong side, or to the right side, to the men's side. And I was sitting down, and it was like somebody opened my chest and I was crying and crying and crying for half an hour or more. And it was like, I'm coming home. I am home, you know. That was really, yeah. That was this, yeah, this crying. And I did not know nothing about Babaji, you know. And it was this certain knowing I am home, yeah. And about pain, you know, I experienced much of pain in my life, really. And I was often seriously ill, but I always knew, don't understand, you know, karma or not karma, but I always feel this, I am home, Babaji's there, he's carrying me when it's very hard, and he's loving me, he's just love. And I know my mind don't understand this. And sometimes I just feel I'm the one who recognize all these stories. And I'm also the one who is recognizing all this. And of course, it's this life, you know, I'm in this life, but what is maybe most important for me about pain or karma is, even in the darkest hour, I just, even if I can remember the mantra, I just say, Babaji, help me. And I know he's there, he's helping, I know it. Yeah. Yeah, 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 that's it, yeah. And, you know, and later when Muniraj and Sastrati were gone, then there were many stories, but one story is maybe, you know, I was lying in bed, and a few months later, Babaji appeared to me beside my bed in form, you know. It's like, and he said to me, you come on Christmas to Haidakhandi. You come, you know. And I did. I just bought a ticket and so on. And even if I don't met him in form, but I met him in form, and I think everybody is like, you know, even in dreams, or he's always there for us. Yeah. So this is, yeah, just a short story of how I met him, or yeah, the beginning, and about crying for joy and for pain. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone. And even if you didn't get to necessarily share your story today, all of the satsangs are open to people sharing their stories or what's currently going on in their lives. It's so touching and beautiful, and just for me helps me remember moment to moment that Baba is always with us, and we are one with Baba. Yeah. And I loved your prayer, you know, it's like, help me. And I've said that before. Sometimes I just walk, help me, help me, help me, when I'm in that pain of separation, is what it is. Yeah. So, and Baba always is there. Sometimes it takes longer than others. And that's the learning steps for me, Gayatri. That's why understanding the karma and all these different things is not possible with my mind. I don't understand, but keeping the bigger picture, that trusting that it is all as it should be, then seeing someone suffering, or myself suffering, or the world suffering, then I can hold it just in my heart with love and trust in Babaji. So. Somebody had suggested that perhaps we end with a song, like, or Om Namah Shivaya, like we did. I think Alok suggested it. Pujari, would you be willing to lead a little bit of Om Namah Shivaya again? Because other people said they thought that was very beautiful. So if you'd like to stay and we could sing Om Namah Shivaya. That would be beautiful.
Yeah, I'll try my best. I thought last time it was not so easy to get the tune right without the stable harmonium, but let's give it a try.
You are the tune.
I'll do another one that they asked me to do, which is Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Om Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho, Mahadeva Shambho, Mahadeva Shambho, Mahadeva Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Shiva, 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 Shambho. Bole Baba ki jai. Sabakton ki jai. Santana ki jai.
Oh.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Nice echo song.
Yeah.
Do we have this satsang at frequent intervals? How is it? This is my first time.
Pujari, next time a little bit more in the light.
Yeah. Well, I even put a light on, but it's not enough. It's getting darker.
No,
Thank you.
Babaji is
more
light.
The satsangs usually happen every Saturday. Whoever asked that question. Okay.
Yeah.
So next
Every Saturday.
Next Saturday will be Sundar Singh and Adini from Shrivanap. It'll be at our regular time, 10 o'clock on Saturday. Thank you so much, Gayatri.
Yeah.
And then this is on the Facebook page?
Yes, I'm always putting it on, and it's always posted also on our website. If you go to babajiashram.org and go to live programs, and it'll pop you there and show you what links.
The site is Babaji. Can you please repeat the site?
babajiashram.org.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. It's so lovely to have you. And then the following week, we're going to shift gears totally because the Samaj has its, American Samaj has a meeting in the morning. So we're going to do an evening program at 6 p.m. on Saturday. And this is the 7th of August, if I've got my dates right, at 6 p.m. with Raghuveer and Nansing. So Raghuveer from Thailand and Nansing from Australia, which are sort of hard times to get in the morning, will be here. So that'll be a big celebration. It may, some of you in Europe may have to get up at 2 in the morning, but oh well. Anyway.
Yeah, that's 2 o'clock in the morning in Amsterdam. Yeah.
Anyway, but
no problem with the Olympics.
Baba ki jai. Thank you.
Jai Maya ki jai.